This is the online Uzebox player. This application is a sort of wrapper to a CUzeBox Emscripten build that allows you to choose from a list of games in this database and play them online in your web browser. In the past, if you wanted to have an online accessible build of your game, you would need to compile an Emscripten build of CUzeBox with your game and the files embedded together. Although this works, this limits the build to just that game, and it's not a very straightforward process for some. The online Uzebox player is designed to allow easy access to the Uzebox game library, allowing you to play any Uzebox game that is known to the database right in your web browser. But that is not all that it was designed to do. It also has an upload local file feature which will allow you to run any Uzebox game files that you have in your computer. Additionally, there is a remote load option. Using this option, you can host a game on any server and the online emulator will download those game files and run them. This is useful for game demos or for online development. Included in the remote tab URL, it's right here, is a link to an example htaccess configuration file for your server. So here it is. This part is some notes. This is what the JSON file should look like. This is what an example of what your htaccess file would look like. Using the remote load feature, I actually use the online Uzebox emulator to develop for Uzebox. And considering that the online Uzebox player is a web page, it does not require an install and can be used on any operating system that supports Firefox or Chrome. Now let's have a demonstration of the different gameplay modes available to you through the Uzebox online player. First, let's cover the server-based games. So we have a game from database here. We can choose a game. There are many. These are the complete games. These are games that are completed, they're done. Work in process games, demos, and to play one, we just pick one. So I'm going to pick Donkey Kong. So here it is. This is the game. It's playing. At the top you see the debug information and some speed and other details and who made the game and what the game's name is. Down below you see this visual representation here. This is memory usage and register usage for the game. If you don't like this, you can click this button down here for debug and it'll turn it off. If you push F2 for quality, it changes the quality. So it looks a little bit more blurry, which actually is better for CPU time. It takes up less CPU. There's also a flicker option. It turns on or off. I usually just leave it the way it is. If you push, debug again, if you push controls, you'll see right here at the upper right, it switches between the key mapping for SNES and for Uzem. So this is, SNES is actually the CUzeBox controls. Those controls are on the left here on the graphic. Okay, if you click on display controls here at the lower left, this will pop up and will tell you more about it. So let's play the game real quick. Yay. This game is 100% program and flash based. This does not use the SD card or SPI RAM. A little more simple of a game, but a well done game. Let's stop the emulator with the stop emulator button. Now I'm going to show you Alter Ego. Alter Ego uses the SD card for lots of effects. The game levels themselves are stored in the SD card. And CUzeBox will emulate the SD card, so it's a good emulator. There you go. It plays the SD card based games just fine. Oops, stopping the emulator. Next, I'll show you the local feature. Let's click on the local tab here. And from here, you have a user-supplied game. This is not in the Uzebox database. You're going to supply it through an upload. Click on Import File and pick the two files. This is Tornado 2000. It's a very large game. The level file is about half a gig here. That's why we don't offer it on the database, because it's really large. But you can still play Tornado. Clicking on Open. Takes a second, the files will load up, and it's recognized that this particular game is the game, so it has the play button only by it. Click it, and the game starts. This game is pretty heavily SD card based. It's practically video, and it still plays just fine. Quick playthrough. And I'll stop. If you wanted to play the game again, it's still loaded. Just push play. An interesting feature that only works in Chrome here is this button here for reread files. In Chrome and Chrome only, if you upload a file, you're not really uploading it. You're actually just giving the browser a handle to that file. So you've already uploaded it once, but it maintains a handle. If you push this button, it'll literally reread them off your hard drive. Why would you want to do that? Well, perhaps you're compiling with a local emulator, or a local compile, rather, and you don't want to have to import files every single time. If you just push this button, it'll reread the files. So this is a Chrome-only feature. Next, I'm going to cover the remote load feature, the URL tab. As expressed earlier, if you have a game that's hosted somewhere else, and you configured an htaccess file and a remote JSON file, you can paste the direct link to that remote load JSON right here and push retrieve. As you can see, I've already did it here. Anyways, so the pushing play will start the game right over. Now this file is not on the database, it is not on your local computer, it is on some other server somewhere, and you can play it. So it slows the game. This is really good for development. In my case, I actually develop in my editor, which has a compiler built into it in a way, and it's hosted there. I can just point right to it, push compile, play the game, see what's going on, go back to the code, fix it, try again. That's the way that works. Stopping emulator. Okay, so that's the demonstration. This is where you get the emulator. You can go to nixen782.net. Scroll down to Online Uzebox Player and pick the current. Here you are, and you have all those features available to you. Additionally, just for fun, something that I do for myself is I have some games up here with certain milestones put up there. So I click on Play in Browser. These are direct links right here to those remote JSON files. You can actually pass them right in on the query string to the emulator. So if I pick, say, version 2 here, it'll load up the emulator just as before, but it's a different version. You can see that the title screen is different. There you go. So maybe you want to keep track of, certain milestones. This is where I got the enemy AI working. This is the original title screen before I changed it. This is just a quick demo. You can keep multiple versions, and this is just the compiled version. So, if anything, they're historical. It's a really good feature. Okay, closing the video. I'm nixen782, and this was the Uzebox Online Player. It is based upon the work of Jubation, who made CUzeBox. You can find him, his code on GitHub. That's github.com/jubation/CUzeBox. Links in the description below if this video is on YouTube. Have a nice day, everyone.